Blog Talk Radio.
I want to welcome everybody to the 110 Nation Sports Show. I am your host, Mr. CJ Sports. Glad to be here in the Carolina Sports Plus studio on this hump day. Got a lot of things to jump into. But, of course, before we jump into anything, we got a few things we got to talk about. But more importantly, I got to get my co-host up in here in the studio. Mario, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Glad to be in the studio on this Wednesday talking sports with you.
Yeah. Ain't no other place I would rather be right now. A lot of things going on, sports world, a lot of things going on, both of our worlds. But let's talk more specifically about Carolina Sports Plus right at this moment. Let them know where they can find you, what you got coming up. I believe you got something to do with the Peach coming up, if I saw the video right. But let them know what you got coming up next, and then also where they can find you, Carolina Sports Plus, if it be website, social media, whatever the case may be.
All right. You can follow us on social media, on Facebook and Instagram, on YouTube at Carolina Sports Plus. We always got some good things going on, some good sales, some good activities, some good sports talk. You can catch Carolina Sports Plus out here on the street July 18th through the 20th at the Peach Festival in Candor, North Carolina. It's if you're around in the area, you know, it's a jumping little festival they got out here in the country, and we're gonna be a part of it. We've been promoting it and, you know, talking about it for a long time now. So it's finally approaching in the summer. But overall, just check us out on social media. We're also gonna be plan on being at the Home Run Derby in Texas coming up. So we're going to be out and about, and just follow us on social media.
Also, want to thank the support of those over at McMillan Lawn Care and Landscaping, helping also make all this possible. If you're local in the Dayton area, hit them up, 937-999-9793. They got all your lawn care needs. And I promise you, after the downpour today and the storms that are rolling through tomorrow for the 4th of July, you're probably going to need a good trim this weekend to get you through the next week. So hit them up. Next week, we will not have a show. I hadn't spoke to you about that yet, Mario, but I will be in Hocking Hills. Those that are from the great state of Ohio, you'll know where Hocking Hills is. I can't believe how many years while I was in the military going back and forth, and even after the military going back and forth from North Carolina to Ohio, how many times I actually passed Hocking Hills. I'd seen it, and I've seen a couple of the more specifically shopping strips and tourist kind of attractions, but never really gave two thoughts about it until I moved back, and my amazing wife, they have been going there since she was a kid, and so it's became a tradition that I've been part of. And so next week we will be in Hocking Hills, and It wouldn't be so bad to be able to have a show from Hocking Hills, but when you're in Hocking Hills, you have no phone service. That is one of the greatest things about being in Hocking Hills is you got to drive like 20, 30 minutes to the nearest town to have cell phone reception. I don't know how the people, they must have internet phone or something. I don't know how they live out there. Not that I got to live on my phone, but I also need to be able to have service to do different things, run the 110 sports stuff, to run the lawn care business, to run the sport, all the stuff we got going on and what you got going on. I couldn't do that. But with that being said, next week, Monday, actually, we will be setting up the 110 Sports and Collectibles Company's booth. They got their first spot that they will be located actually in Logan, which is in the Hocking Hill area. That's actually the city we go to when we want cell phone reception. Not that we go there for that, but that's where usually pick it up because there's a couple of things in town that we do. Like Monday morning when we, the first day normally when we get there, this Monday is going to be a little bit different since we're setting up. But normally we go into Logan and have a grocery pickup already set up so that when we get there we can pick up our groceries and go out to Lake Hope and be out there in the cabin in the woods and stuff. So looking forward to that. And then we got another location that in the Hocking Hills area, for those that are familiar with the area, right off 33 where the big arts and crafts mall is, the big flea markets, my wife's favorite coffee place in the entire world, Oasis, and their first location. We will be putting a location there as well. So we'll actually be spending the week in Hocking Hills, coming back to end up getting a bunch of more merchandise that I'm going to be ordering to go back out there within that next week we're back to set up another location. So very excited. Things going on here in the entire the 110 umbrella. But it's time to roll in. Before we roll into it, I want to make sure you guys know that Monday nights after Labor Day, the exclusive will be back. It's an opportunity for Chris Creighton, co-host of Race Chat Live, and myself to sit down on Monday nights for 30 minutes. We sit with a different person 20 or 25 minutes to do an interview. We do an 8-week series every year, so looking forward to that. Tuesday nights, you guys can catch Race Chat Live right here on the 110 Nation Sports Radio Network. 8:30, the guys get you caught up on all the latest going on in the racing world, usually more so NASCAR, but the entire racing world. As I know they talked about John Force and his horrific accidents and a couple other things that went on in the sports world outside of NASCAR. So make sure you guys tune in. Of course, you guys got us 7 o'clock here for the 110 Nation Sports Show. And then Thursday nights, Jared Hudson has Safety to Success. I'm not 100% sure if he has a show tomorrow night because of 4th of July, but make sure 8 o'clock Thursday nights, Safety to Success right here on the 110 Nation Sports Radio Network. Make sure you guys subscribe to our YouTube channel, the 110 Nation Sports Radio Network, for all the clips and shows over there. We're also on iHeart, YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, Amazon, you name it. Anywhere you find your podcast, we are located there as well. And make sure you check out the site, www.the110nationsportsradionetwork.com, for all the latest going on here at the 110 Nation. Mario, there was a lot of action. Like, it was like quiet, then all of a sudden I see one notification come through, then it's like notification. This person's going this place, this person's going to this place, this person's got a max contract, this person opted out of a contract, now this person's got a max contract. I tell you what, it's been a kind of crazy week so far, and we're about halfway through. Unfortunately, that's about it. There's not really much left to go on. Everybody's kind of going where they're going. But let's talk a little bit about what happened this week. We got, I think the one that kind of surprised, I don't know if it should surprise me, but kind of surprised me is the whole Golden State situation. Chris Paul is leaving. He is headed to San Antonio. We'll talk about that here in a second. But Klay Thompson decided he was going to go to Dallas, leaving and hearing Draymond speak, he had thought about going somewhere last year and stayed. so obviously this has all come to an abrupt end. Not so much the Chris Paul part of it, but I honestly didn't think I would see a day that we would have Klay Thompson, Steph Curry, and Draymond Green on a team. Like, I just thought it would be one of those situations that they would just ride this to the end. Like, you might eventually start taking veteran minimum contracts or lesser contracts, however, maybe start coming off the bench at some point. But for the sake of the dynasty part of it, the sake of the years together, the hard work, the good times, making it through the bad times, like, I just thought that this was going to be a trio that, you know, they came in pretty much together. They were just going to go out together, and that's not the case, as now you still got Steph and Draymond, but now that Draymond's been a little vocal about his previous thoughts and knowing that there was a lot of questions whether or not Golden State was going to re-sign when they did because of the on-court issues and everything else, I wouldn't be surprised that the next opportunity, we're just left with Steph in that at this point. Your thoughts on Klay leaving, Chris leaving, your thoughts of Golden State? Where are we at with Golden State at this point? Like, I don't even know if we would consider them contenders at this point. I don't know. You got Draymond, who was great at the beginning of this run, but as it's gotten later in the run, his numbers have fell off. Not that he's just a horrible player, but he got away with what he was doing, the calls and everything else in Golden State eyes because he was producing certain numbers. All right, we'll take that foul. We'll take that flagrant. We'll take you being suspended a game here, a game there because of what you give us all the rest of the games. Now you're not getting all those numbers, all that productivity, but you're still getting some of the same issues. And then you got Steph Curry, who is injured more than he's been ever. It just got to do with the miles, the wear and tear on his body, nothing against Steph Curry. But father time is going to catch up with him as well, and the minutes are going to get reduced, and he's not going to be able to do as much. And at what point do you not step on the toes of what is arguably one of the greatest shooting guards to ever play the game? And when it's time to step back and let the young ones kind of take, like, there's a lot of decisions now that's going to have to be made. What's your thoughts on all of this, Mario?
You know, it's a sad day. You know what I mean? Overall, if you think about it, you know, for Golden State, the Golden State Warriors. You know, like you said, I would never thought that they'll be going their separate ways. You know, I think Klay. I think Klay got it. I'm gonna say in his feelings, but you know, as far as playing time, and he wanted a big payday and things of that nature. I think, you know, the time has ran its course with him. You know, he wasn't going to do the Draymond Green type of situation, and he wanted to go somewhere else and let them know that he still got it. You know, he stayed in the Western Conference, so obviously, you know, there's going to be a lot of talk about what's going on, you know, as far as him being on the Mavericks. You know, he did have to play in a, you know, contract year type of situation, you know, where there was pressure on him to perform at a good level, you know, if he really wanted to stay, or Golden State really wanted him to stay. You know, I think the switching GMs with Dunleavy in there, you know, that probably played a part too. You know, they're you know, Dunleavy really don't got no ties to him or, you know, feelings for him. You know, Steve Kerr, you know, he signed his contract to stay around a little bit longer with the Warriors. So obviously he had his say so in the Klay Thompson movement as far as the years or the money and the playing time, and Klay just wanted to move on. Hopefully he can get his stroke back together. You know, Dallas really needs a 3-point shooter in that position just because how they lost in the finals. You know, obviously they got to the finals. You know, was it a fluke or was it such and such? But you know, they got there. But I don't. It's just gonna be weird. It's just gonna be weird as far as Klay Thompson and how he's gonna have to put up shots and how he's gonna get shots. You know what I mean? You know, there was a lot of motion in Golden State. a lot of flare screens, a lot of swings, and a lot of things like that. But you're gonna go to a Dallas Maverick team where there's already two main ball handlers. Luka's gonna catch you here and there, but he just gotta knock down open shots. But overall, he just wanted to do what he wanted to do. But I think they, like they said, they should retire his number. He did great things while he was in Golden State, but he just didn't want to be there anymore.
It's crazy being a Cavalier fan that thinking back to the days where we had those back-to-back championship runs and against Golden State, being a Cavalier fan, and the hatred I had for the Golden State Warriors. Like, I just like Carolina Duke, like, I know it's not a rivalry, but when you're back-to-back runs and, it gets physical at times and everything else, like, you just learn to you just don't want to see them win. You don't want to see them succeed in life. Like, you don't want nothing, especially when you're from somewhere like Ohio where you've not seen a championship in so many years outside of the Buckeyes, but more specifically in the professional level. And to go from that, just like thinking, like, God, man, I cannot stand them. I all these things, and how every time it's funny because I can remember sitting in the B-Dubs. I was actually outside the B-Dubs. We were sitting outside on Skybow Road, across from the Home Depot and whatever else. A Target, I think, was there. And I was with a buddy of mine. He also was an Ohio native. And I can remember sitting outside and watching Game 7 of the NBA Finals and the Cleveland Cavaliers come back. And I can remember I thought it was an odd thing that he teared up when the Cavaliers won. And like that, this is outside of the Buckeyes championship at this point, and I think the Buckeyes ended up winning the championship around that year as well, with Ezekiel Elliott and company. Prior to that, I had not been part of any championship, really, outside of that, really any championship team. And so it was a big deal, but I didn't realize how big of a deal it was. And I just thought it was odd. Like, why is this dude crying? Like, but now, every year in my timeline, the most specific post that I'm talking about is there's a short clip video. It picks up about when the Cavaliers are down 3-1. And that's when things got a little etchy with Klay Thompson and LeBron and Draymond. And you got into that foul. They got Draymond suspended for the game. And it picks up, and you watch Kyrie and LeBron score like 40 points each in the game. And then they win that game. And it goes on. We win the championship. And every year I got to sit there and watch it. Like, it comes on my timeline every year, and I sit there and take the time to watch this video. And at different times, I feel myself like it hits you. And it's like, I understand now why he was crying. Like, I don't know if I could ever do it. Like, it's just not me. Like, people just think it's weird. I've maybe teared up once in my life. I don't know. I've never, even though I've lost my brother, we hadn't been around each other in like 30-something years due to other family issues, and we just hadn't connected. And then the last 4 or 5 years he was alive, I did get to go see him once a year. So he was really the closest person, and I'm using air quotes because that's my brother, and we did spend the last 4 or 5 years before all of a sudden out of nowhere he passed away. But I wasn't really that close, so that even though it's the closest, that's as close as it really has ever gotten. So I'm not really, other than my son being born, and that was just, I guess, a whole different experience, and that's why I didn't. Like, we had a C-section, a scheduled C-section, because prior birth, she had an emergency C-section because the daughter was upside breached or something. I don't know what it was. So this one we went ahead and scheduled. It was scheduled just so there was no issues and everything else. And when I was told you can go ahead and look, I could see up in the reflection of the mirror, like I saw a lot more than I thought I would ever see in my lifetime, with body parts out. So like I think that's why maybe it wasn't as a most emotional thing for me, because like I saw a lot of things I never thought I would see in my life, especially that baby coming out of a body. So it was a different experience. So I don't know, but I get it. So to go from that hatred, though, back to my point, to where I'm at now, and it's just like, it's not that I like these guys. Like, I don't have a bitter feeling no more. Like, depending on who they're playing, I will pick them over certain teams at this point. Before, there was, I don't know if I could ever name a team that I would have wanted to see them beat. Now, there's certain teams I'd want to see them win against. But to go from that to just like, there's about to be no them, like, or there is no them now at this point. It's just such a weird transition. So anyway, we got through that. Let's talk about transition. Let's talk about the LA Lakers. Let's talk about a lot of the same moving pieces here. LeBron James, Cavaliers, Lakers, Klay Thompson was offered 4 years, $20 million a year. He turned down, took a lesser contract to go play at Dallas. And this part's what's funny to me, and I posted this on the 110 Facebook page. LeBron opts out of his contract. I think everybody knows why he opted out of his contract. He was trying to free up capital so that the Lakers could get somebody in here to help. You got LeBron, who's like 800 years old. You got AD, who's got fragile bones like an 800-year-old. Then you got a bunch of role players that have kind of been hit and miss. And fortunately for most of those role players, they maximize on after years of a good season, like Austin Reeves and D'Angelo Russell, and there was somebody else who all capitalized after having a really good season and got these great contracts and have not been consistent to what they did the year they earned that contract or that contract. And so LeBron's like, look, I'm going to opt out of my contract. Let's free up some money. Let's get some help. You know, now I got a bunch of role players that ain't playing where I need them to play. AD can't stay healthy, and hell, now we're spending $8 million on my son, who was probably not even top 50 in college basketball, and I need some help. But the thing was, Mario, nobody wanted to come help. Nobody wanted to come play with LeBron. They couldn't even get Klay Thompson to take phone calls to come play. He decided he wanted to go play at Dallas. So what's LeBron do? He's like, all right, let's redo this contract now. 2 years, $4 billion. He's getting $52 billion max contract. So since nobody wanted to come play with him, he's like, I'm gonna max out. Things are not looking good in Los Angeles here. I think the Lakers did exactly what Dan Gilbert did the first time around, and kind of did the second time around as well. Well, actually did it both times. More so the second time around. First time around, he didn't go get anybody. That's why he left. Then the second time around, LeBron got anything and everything he wanted, and then that's why it took us until this last season to kind of recover from the LeBron phase. But the Lakers are not willing to come off of it. The Lakers are willing to stay all in just to have the biggest name in basketball to be not the greatest player, not even the best player on the court currently, probably not even top 10-ish player right now currently, due to his age and his injuries and everything else. I don't know if you could say LeBron is top 10. I mean, there's a lot of great names. There's Joker, there's Luka, Jason Tate. There's a lot of great players right now playing at a very high level. And nothing against LeBron, because he's one of the greatest to ever play the game, and any given night he could take over the game. Don't get me wrong. I just don't know on a consistent night tonight if he's necessarily top 10 in the league right now, because there's a lot of great players playing basketball right now, and we got a lot of fresh talent that's we're seeing in the makings. Anthony Edwards, Wemby, like there's a lot of talent out there. I think the Lakers are in a very bad spot right now, Mario. And the Lakers are not willing to come out. Like, they're still rolling out the carpet. Like, you wasted a draft pick and $80 million on his son just because it's his son and the name, not because he's actually done anything or proved anything. He did not prove or show us anything in college basketball. Like, there is no actual anything on his stat line that shows why you went number 2 on a team that is not anywhere near where they need to be. Now, it's all based on the name and who you got and who you're unwilling to move on from. And now you locked, essentially, next 2 years, you actually locked 104 plus $408 million of it, because you're paying Bronny $2 million a year on top of the $52 million a year that you're paying LeBron. You've got $108 million tied up in those two names. And I guarantee even all their stats together, probably still not going to be top 10 stats of any single player out there. So until they're ready to go ahead and cut the cord, I think this is where we're at with the Lakers. What's your thoughts on all this?
Yeah, that was a very interesting take. You know, some things I agree with you, some I didn't. I think LeBron James, I think I wouldn't say top 5. I would put him. Yeah, I think he'll still be in the top 10. But the overall look of the Lakers right now, you know, with Klay Thompson not wanting to go over there and him choosing to go to Dallas, and there's really no superstar help that's really out there besides DeRozan. It does look bad for the Lakers as far as this upcoming year, but anytime you got LeBron James and Anthony Davis, you know, they can put up some wins and see how it goes. But it's just a difficult situation right now with the Lakers. They picked. I think they did. LeBron James did do his son a favor and the Lakers by getting his son and putting him on the team. This first time, you know, we ever seen something like this. Besides, you know, the Ken Griffey situation. But I'm saying as far as in the NBA anyway. Yeah. It is a good thing to see. I guess hear about or one day, you know, make a movie of. But as far as his talent wise, I think he shouldn't have been picked in the second round. You know what I mean? I think there were some other players that they really did need, but then at the same token, you know, we all I don't know if you did, but you know, the Showtime Lakers, you know, you got to put some people in the stands, good or bad, you know what I mean? Especially in 2024 to sell tickets and to make moves as far as the Lakers. But the crowd will be packed, you know, just to see that type of situation with LeBron James and his son being on the court together. It is going to be interesting to see. You know, I'm pretty sure ESPN and all the ESPN can't wait to see it. You know, get that first highlight dunk or first good reel. But I don't think he's going to be even playing the first year. To be honest, it's just a hard situation because he's not that good. He's not, you know. He's not that good to be on the court starting off as a rookie. You know, I think he's going to be in the G League, but then what's the G League going to do as far as, you know, it's not like he's going to be on the court with his dad. So it's tricky. They play a little risk. I'm sure it's going to raise the viewership of the G League and more specifically the games that he'll be playing in. But I wonder to what extent, like how many people are really going to go out of their way to watch this Bronny play in the G League. And I'm sure I'm going to be surprised. And it's no shot. Bronny is no shot. It's the G League. That's like, I think all of us are surprised what the Caitlin Clark effect's been on the WNBA. Like,
We thought maybe, especially what she accomplished out of Iowa, that maybe, there would be more Iowa fans. But to see the WNBA have the reaction overall in attendance has been, surprising. And so I'm sure the same thing. I just wonder if it's going to be the same kind of effect or just what we was expecting with the Caitlin Clark effect.
The Caitlin Clark situation is a little bit more tricky, and the WNBA got a good thing going on. But as far as with LeBron James and his son, and seeing the viewership, to be honest, people are gonna be ready to see him. I'm gonna be ready to see him in summer league play, just actually play a whole game and get subbed out against even NBA players at that level. I wouldn't say excited, but I want to see him. Is he going to do what he needs to do to go along, or is this really going to be a little jokery? Is he going to be able to get on the court?
This might be the best ratings the G League has gotten in years. That's why it might have all-time high ratings for this summer. Speaking of the other part of this whole topic of conversation, Klay Thompson not even taking the phone call and bouncing to Dallas. Now, it's easy to be a Dallas fan and get wrapped up into all this. But to what extent do we get wrapped up into this, especially if you're a Dallas fan? You're talking about Luka, who is a phenomenal player. You got Kyrie, who was phenomenal in Cleveland, kind of went down his rocky road, kind of rejuvenated himself in Dallas, but he's had injury issues. He had injury issues all the way back to Duke. He has had kind of off-the-wall stuff here at times, but he's also an aged veteran. He's been around a good hot minute, just as long as you're talking Klay and all them as well. And then you got Klay. On the same notes, has been dealing with injuries on the latter part of his career. He's getting up there in the age. So how excited do you really get adding Klay Thompson? Is this going to be Klay and Kyrie splitting duties? Are you going to have both of them on at the same time? I'm curious how this is going to affect everything. It would be one thing if it was as Klay in his younger prime time, but now you're getting on the very late part of his prime, but the later part of his prime, but the more so the very later end of his career, as he's been in the league at least double-digit years at this point. So as much as I like to see this whole Dallas thing and just another name in the hat, it gets tired of seeing the same teams over and over. I don't want to sit there and watch Denver every year. I don't want to sit there. It's nice to have another team in it. It was kind of refreshing. We ain't seen Dallas do anything really since the Dirk beating Miami Heat days. It was refreshing there then to see it. It was refreshing to see Dallas come back and be in the finals this year. I just don't know how excited to be for Dallas fans or how to take this team, because you're talking about a couple players that are on the back end of their career, and injuries and everything else has been a factor. Mario, how excited should Dallas fans be about this?
If you do it once, you can do it again. You know what I mean? That's the way I'll be looking at it. As far as the fan and the coaching staff, you know what I mean? That's just a good way of looking at it. But the change, every year is different. Every team has changed. No matter if you sit there and say, this superstar, and these two players and a couple other players, it's just a different team. But is the rhythm going to be the same? Or are they going to barely get by? The teams that they got by, the Timberwolves are going to be better. So other teams are catching up too. But as far as you just want to talk about Dallas, the 3-point shooting did play a factor. So they went out there and got a 3-point shooter. And you got at least you got to commend your team. At least you got to commend your team of going and go get the right pieces that you needed. That you needed. You know what I mean? With trading Tim Hardaway Jr. Freed up a lot of money. So they used that money to get Thompson. But if he can hit shots like he usually, 42, 43% from three-point line, he's going to get a lot of open shots just because you got two main ball handlers. There's going to be a lot of eyes on them just because they do play ISO basketball at times. And you get in your right spot and you come around and you just hit the shots that you get getting kicked out open to. You know what I mean? But we're gonna see. You know, it is an older team. Thompson is older. You know, he barely was getting around last year, and he did. And the reason why he's not in Golden State and that he's in Dallas is because he couldn't hit shots. You know what I mean? The last time we actually saw him on a basketball court, it wasn't too good. You know, there was pressure on him then. There's going to be pressure on him now, you know, to at least hit open shots. If he didn't do it at Golden State, you know, is he actually going to do it in Dallas? You know what I mean? You know how the Paul Pierce situation, you know, once you get traded, things just ain't the same. And so he's definitely going to have to go through that part. And but we'll see. Hopefully he does good, but the pressure was on him to hit shots last year, and he didn't hit them. And now definitely the pressure's going to be on him to hit the same shot this year for another team. You get what I'm saying? So there's going to be more pressure than there was then. Just because you got so many eyes on you, change teams, and now you're just going to be clanking. There ain't going to be that background or them buddies.
That'd be clanking.
Them buddies that, yeah, you get what I'm saying? And once that starts, you know what I mean? Dallas fans ain't gonna be like you know what I mean? Clay ain't do nothing for us. He didn't win us no championship, so the pressure's gonna be on him to hit them shots. And if he don't hit them, do you think he's gonna get the same reaction from Golden State fans than Dallas fans? No. Is the team gonna have his back the same way that Golden State has? You know what I mean? Of course they are. He's in the locker room, but it ain't gonna be that same type of feel. You ain't gonna have nobody to go in a corner and really talk because you on a new damn team. No matter if superstars or not, they got their own personality, and it takes a long time just to build up that type of friendship anyway in the locker room. You know what I mean? You're still an outsider. You're still somebody that's, you know, been beating us for years. You know what I mean? But he got to hit open shots, and if he don't, then he's gonna have a lot of pressure on him. He had pressure on him last year. He's gonna have pressure on him this year. Hopefully, he can handle it.
Another move that happened, Mario, and I'm not a fan of this one.
Okay.
Chris Paul to San Antonio. And hear me out.
Okay. All right.
Why he was in Houston, I didn't want to see him win a championship because I can't stand James Harden. I just don't. I think he's the biggest flopper. I just can't stand James Harden. The Euro step, the whole everything. It seems like it seems like you don't have to dribble and he gets away with it. He flops more. Him and LeBron are on the top of the charts of flopping. But when he went to Golden State, I thought that was his opportunity. I thought finally he'll get a championship. Like he has done all the right things, even though he should have been a Laker back in the day, and the league screwed him out of that by we're going to veto it and let everybody else in the world do what they want. You know, he caught a roll-in deal. He should have been a Laker. He should have won a championship. You know, now you're playing at Golden State. You got this team that's great. You're a veteran presence. You're willing to come off the bench. You've done everything right your whole life. Now you're willing to really do it right at Golden State as well, and be that veteran presence and let them do what they got to do, and you just be a role player in this piece. And it didn't happen. Now you're at San Antonio, and the reason I don't like it has nothing to do with San Antonio other than they're not a championship contending team. And I am confused by this, why he didn't go to a team, even if you got to take it's not like he needs the money. If you're still playing at this age, and it's not about the money, it's about just wanting to win a championship. That's just my personal opinion. I think that's why, to me, he went to Golden State. Why you would not take a veteran's minimum somewhere, be a veteran presence on a team to win a championship. Like, I want to actually see him win a championship at this point. I don't think San Antonio is the right place to win the championship, not before he retires. I'm not saying San Antonio is a bad team, but they are not beating the Dallas Mavericks. They are not beating the Denver Nuggets. They're not beating if I'm correct, is Minnesota considered the West too?
Yeah,
So those three teams right there, San Antonio's not beaten in a series. Right off the top of my head. Right. This team, I would have rather seen, more so I just rather would have seen Chris Paul go to a team, maybe one of those teams, but a team that was a legitimate top 2 or 3 contending team, maybe top 4 contending team out west, so they had a chance to win a championship. I said, obviously after all these years, it's not about the money. You're taking lesser play coming off benches now at this point. I would just wish he would have went to a team that there was a legitimate, real shot at winning a championship, so Chris Paul can have a championship.
All right, okay. Now, that's a good. That is a good point as far as if Chris Paul won the championship. You know what I mean? But the route that he took, it happened so fast. You get what I'm saying? The pay cut, as far as as far as him getting cut, you know, he got picked up the same day. You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So that right there obviously tells you that the San Antonio wants a true point guard to come in here and run a team. You know what I mean? Because last year they didn't have a point guard. I'm not talking about they can win a championship. Each year is about getting better. You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So with who they got now and the picks that they got, the young team that they have, they may be figuring they're just a point guard away to make sure everybody gets the ball. Everybody gets the ball when they need to get the ball. Because Chris Paul wouldn't do it.
They're better.
As far as a point guard.
I will not argue they are better. Don't get me wrong. Having Chris Paul makes you better.
Yeah. I'm not sitting there saying they're a championship team. No, I'm not saying all that.
And that's the only part I don't like about it. It's just because I want him to have that championship.
I'm not saying that part. No. Yeah, that may be Chris Paul.
They better. I'll give you that much, but they're not championship better.
No, maybe Chris Paul is not even on that train. You get what I'm saying? Why he didn't? Why didn't other teams look at him? You know what I mean? Getting that star. I mean, getting a point guard for him to come in. You know what I mean? What team will he go to? He can't go to Boston. He can't go to Denver. You know what I mean? He can't go to Minnesota. You know what I mean? So it's just kind of like, all right, I want to take a more. I
guarantee Denver, Minnesota, any other teams would have took him at a veteran's minimum under the understanding you come off the bench to help give them somebody that's coming off the bench that's going to give their second unit just a little bit better. Right. I think all those teams and those players could have put any little bit of pride that they would have had against Chris Paul, which I don't think anybody would have, to play.
Maybe he wanted to start. Maybe he's going to San Antonio to start and play 25 minutes and teach a young team how a point guard needs to be run. And maybe I don't want to win. Maybe my championship time is over and I want to do something else. You get what I'm saying? Maybe I want to take a little role and sit there and say,
But it's not over. Like, if he would have gone to a legitimate contending team, it would have not been over. If he would have took a veteran's minimum and you added a third piece, and it makes Dallas a little bit better because now you can substitute between the three of them. And I'm just throwing. I don't even know if that's ever in consideration. I'm just saying. Like I said, it's not a bad move. Everything you said, I agree 100% with you. They are a better team. He's a veteran. He shows them the right way and everything else, and how the locker room atmosphere needs to be and everything else. There's a lot of things he can show these young players. The only part I don't like about it is from the aspect that I want to see, and I'm not even that big of a Chris Paul fan. I just have a lot of respect for how he has ran his career. He's not been a controversial person. I feel even though at the time I applauded not that I applauded, but I didn't have any issues with the NBA shoot down the Lakers and that whole move because they would have dominated, and I'm not a Laker fan, so it didn't hurt my feelings. But I feel it is a really crappy job to keep it PG, that what the NBA did, because then they ultimately just turn around and let everybody do what they wanted anyway after you screwed Chris Paul have a chance to be in part of a dynasty and the Lakers really doing something there. I feel all those aspects, I would like to see him win a championship, and I just wish he would have went to a team that it could have accomplished that. He could have spent a year or two there and gone back and helped San Antonio. I don't know. But I'm sure there's a great relationship between him and Popovich, especially all the Olympic years and being on, with Popovich and everything else, all-star teams and everything else. So I'm sure it's going to be a great fit for everybody. And I'm sure he might finish a career there and been happy and everything else. It's just one of those things, kind of like your Dan Marino. All the things Dan Marino did and could not do a Super Bowl, and you just – and Dan Marino was not a bad guy. Like, I don't know how he was in the 80s, if he's a dick or not, but throughout the rest of his life, since I have known of Dan Marino, I've never heard anything bad or, anything. He kind of wished the guy could have won a Super Bowl somewhere, but that's just how I feel about Chris Paul. A couple more things, moves that happened. I want to make sure we get a couple more of these. Paul George said deuces to the Clippers over at Philadelphia now. I would like to, this is another one of those, I like to be happy for Philadelphia fans, but it seems like Embiid can't stay healthy, Paul George can't stay healthy. As great as it is to have these names that stay out of trouble, that are good players, good people, do a lot of great things, they can't stay healthy, and Paul's getting to be at the end of his career as well. I'd like to have another team that's competitive in the East, even though, I'd like to see the Cavaliers win another championship. It's always fun to see good, hard-fought games. I just don't know, as if I was a Philadelphia fan, how excited I would be to have another player that there's no guarantee how many games I'm getting out of him. And I don't know, just how I feel about it. Your thoughts on Paul George going to Philadelphia?
Yeah, it's as far as Paul George, his price is his price, and this is what he wants. And if you don't want to pay it, if you don't want to do it, then let me be. I think that's what the Clippers did. As far as the Clippers, on the Clippers side, they paid up so much to get Paul George, and it just didn't work out. With him, Kawhi, and that whole situation. Paul George did shoot his best shooting percentage in his career last year, so he got something to talk about with him being a little older player. I don't know exactly what his age is, maybe 33. He's up in there somewhere, 33, 34. Signed a 4-year deal. That's 38. He's a solid player. He's very good. He has hopped around in his career too. As far as with the Pacers, Oklahoma City, the Clippers, and now here, he done got paid several times. So that's always a good thing in their profession. I think the team, Philadelphia, really needed somebody. As far as help, is he good? Yeah, he's better than Tobias. He's gonna have them nights where he can really get hot. But overall, it's about Embiid. It's about him really staying healthy through the whole year. Philadelphia looked good with Embiid and Maxey without Paul George. You know what I mean? But Embiid just couldn't stay healthy long enough to see what could be. Paul George is gonna help. He plays solid defense, and if he shoots the way he shot last year, that's always a good thing. I think he doesn't need the ball, as much as a traditional superstar. You know what I mean? He is kind of a superstar on the superstar level just because the way he got paid. So obviously that people do feel like he is a superstar. So it's a good thing that he matched up with Embiid and Maxey. Overall they have a good team. With the signing of Drummond as well to give Embiid breaks. That's always a good pickup because he's going to play hard. But Paul George, he's a good player, but it's all about Embiid if he can stay healthy, because without Embiid, you're not really going anywhere. So it all really goes down to is can Embiid stay healthy and can he be locked in? Because he's getting older too. He's getting banged up a little bit more. But it was a good signing. I don't think I would have paid Paul George that, but the team wanted him. They needed somebody, so they went out and paid for somebody.
Couple of the notables I want to get in here before we start to wrapping up. Caldwell Pope went to the Orlando Magic, looking like a 3-year, $66 million deal. Harden's going to be staying in the Clippers, 2-year, $70 million deals. What the last talk was on that. I think we're past the Clippers at this point. I just it's funny, the Clippers kind of go in phases. Like for almost all my life, they were really irrelevant. Then all of a sudden, you had the years with Chris Paul there, Blake Griffin and all of them, and it was like they were fun to watch, but you just couldn't put a legitimate playoff championship part of the run together. Like you were fun to watch all season. They would start off in the playoffs great, but as you got to the tougher teams, then they started to kind of fade, and then that was the end of that. And then we had this surge in a couple of years ago. Now I think we're back to the Clippers or non-existence again. Derek Jones, 3-year, $30 million with the Clippers. I know that Cavalier fans were very nervous on the whole Donovan Mitchell. I don't remember the details. It seemed like it was 3 years, 4 years, $145 million, something like that. But he is going to stay with the Cavaliers. And the big dog of them all, the top moneymaker, Jason Tatum, 5 years, $314 million. If I remember seeing correctly, there was a stat that he makes that in 5 years, and Tom Brady in 23 years in the NFL, he only made like $3 million more in 23 years. It's crazy where the contracts are right now. Coming off a championship, but was not the MVP, to get a 5-year, $314 million extension with player options and trade kickers just seems the biggest in NBA history. Just seems a bit much. It seems like we're getting out of control. Like there's luxury taxes and everything else, and it's like they don't care where you're still going to have to pay me this, or I don't know. I don't know if somebody's worth $70 million to play. I mean, honestly, with the trying to rest thing, you're probably going to get a good 70, at best 70, 75 games out of them. You're basically paying them $1 million a game. I don't feel anybody is that good to get paid $1 million a game. You don't want me to break down the numbers, because if we're going to base it off 48 minutes on $1 million, or I can tell you how much a minute they're making, and then the average play time, if you're about 36 to 40 minutes, how much they're actually making a minute, you probably want to go kill yourself. But it's a bit, it is what the market is. I'm sorry, and that's what he's getting paid, to understand that. But this has just gotten out of control. There is no reason this man is making $70 million a year just in an NBA contract, not counting. I know that he is the main sponsor for SoFi, because I'm invested in SoFi, who's also the official sponsor of the NBA. And that's just one of many sponsorships. I'd be willing to bet this dude easily is making $100 million a year just to play basketball. That is insane to me. Any thoughts on? And what also is insane to me is you're so worried about all this money that why, when you're making all this extra money, why would you not be like? I don't understand why more players don't take the Tom Brady approach and take lesser, so that you can continue having championship runs. So you're constantly in the spotlight. So you're constantly picking up more endorsement deals because you're in the spotlight all the time. You don't think Tom Brady didn't put all this together? I'm going to take a little bit less money. I have a phenomenal offensive line. We go to the Super Bowl all the time, and everybody wants my name on their stuff, and everybody's paying me, from Gillette to you name it. And he's still doing commercials, and how he did the commercials when he returned, one of the T-Mobile or whatever it is, and Rob Gronkowski coming back to Tampa Bay. Like, it's ridiculous the money he made and how smart he was about everything. And I don't understand why these players all of a sudden want to get greedier on top of the millions they're already making and hundreds of millions they're making. And so now that you're going to have to divide this team up or break this team up, because they're at some point it's going to get out of control and can't afford everybody. is beyond me. Your thoughts on this before we wrap it up?
Yeah. Hey, look, we gotta get to some. It's hate to say, but I definitely want to talk about some WNBA just for a hot little second.
Okay.
But anyway, about Jason Tatum, you know, the market is the market. You know what I mean? This is what is due to me by staying here for all these years and playing here since I was a rookie. You get what I'm saying? Y'all drafted me, and this is what the market is called for. You know, I think as far as the pay scale, I think it's just a little bit different in every sport. You know, NFL is more catered to the owners. You know, NBA is more catered to the players. But then at the same token, you know, NBA is kind of like Boston's paying them, but you also hear Boston's also selling majority stake in their team. You know what I mean? Just because I think the owner knows where he's headed. You know, with all the players that he played as far as Boston and all the money that is owed out there. You know, eventually, the money's gonna run dry if more money don't keep coming in. Even though they did win a championship, it's just what the market is for. So as far as my defense is Tatum, you know, this is what's owed to me, and this is what's due. And since I'm here, you know, I played my time, I played my minutes, I got my points, and this is what's due. You know what I mean? With the contract negotiations with the CBA, this is just what's due to me at this particular time, and you got to offer me this. So of course I'm gonna sign it. It's not like I'm sitting there and say no. The LeBron James situation is a little bit different, just because they got so much tied up in him. But it's good. I would sign it. Does he deserve it? Is he worthy enough to make all that money? As far as his skills on the court, you know, that's like the no factor. Is he a good player? Is he a superstar? Yeah. He didn't win the finals MVP, you know, but he did overall lead his teams in points and rebounds and assists, you know, throughout all. Did he deserve it? No. But is he a good player? Yeah, it's just hard to sit there and pay that person all that amount of money, and it's just that time in sports, I guess.
All right, what you got for me? The WNBA.
You know, it's kind of weird. I would never thought that I would be clicking on and sitting there and watching a WNBA game. you know, and that's just being honest. So it's kind of crazy even sitting there saying that, even over all these years that I haven't watched a WNBA game. But there is a lot of spark in what's going on with Caitlin Clark. You know, she is pulling in some great numbers that, you know, when she comes into town, you know, I mean, these teams are really having to sit there and say, we got to go to a bigger arena. You know, and every time she comes, you get what I'm saying? They're selling out that bigger arena. You know, it really is a good thing. You know, she's good as far as bringing the people in. It's kind of like the great white hype. You know, is you seen a white? I'm gonna say, you know, man, but you see a white girl dominating and making plays, but then at the same token, you get what I'm saying? So of course it's kind of like you know, not trying to sound like that, but you know, it really is helping out the WNBA, you know, because girls are coming to see her play or seeing what she can do as far as her playing against the women that she's going against. Every night they got these grown women ready to play this little girl that came out of Iowa and scored all these points, that's packing out our arena, making us change from the game that we just played such and such team in 2 nights ago. Now all of a sudden, just because she's coming into town, we got to go to the men's gym. You know, so obviously it gets them hyped. It gets them hyped too. You know, even like the Mercury situation when you talk about the WNBA. You know, I sat there and really wanted to watch that game just because Taurasi was talking big boy junk. You know, when she was in when Caitlin Clark was in college. You know, with all the hype that she had. You know, you could tell that she was kind of salty about the comment and what she did, you know what I mean, just because when she said there's going to be grown women coming after her that she haven't seen before. So obviously it hypes up the opponent, and it also hypes up her, but you got to give her props just because she handled herself well handles herself well as far as the press conferences, just because she knows she got all these women after her. You get what I'm saying? She still gives them credit. She still gives her, good things. And then you also got the Angel Reese factor. You know what I mean? Her opponent, or really her, the Michael Jordan versus LeBron. The WNBA got it right now, and they're only rookies. And even when you go to her, she's kind of like doing good within herself. She's breaking records that as far as with her double-doubles, that's been standing for a long time, and she's been doing it for a rookie. So it is good seeing her doing the thing. She got her All-Stars, awards, but it's good for the WNBA, because I would never thought that I would have been talking about, like, dang, I want to check out this game right here, and it's really women's basketball. So you have to really sit there and say, the Clayton Clark, the Angel Reese, the little vibe that they got going on right now is really good for them. And you really got to commend. Hopefully, they can keep the train going. But Clayton Clark, she got a lot of good things, a lot of bad things too, as far as her skills, just because she gets taken out in the game as far as defensive rotations and things like that. When they need a defensive stop, she's not on the court. She also has a high turnovers. I think she's leading the league right now in turnovers, if I'm not mistaken. So her game is not really the Michael Jordan of women's basketball, but it is simply good to sit there and see all these fans coming out there to support her. But she got people lined up just to get her autograph. So WNBA needs it, but she has a lot to improve on.
Hopefully the WNBA doesn't screw this up, which they kind of already did with the whole Team USA thing. But more specifically, I have not kept up with women's college basketball, but I'm hopefully for the WNBA's sake, you got another Caitlin Clark coming along real quick, so that that's where they got to hope to maximize is there's multiple Clarks and Reeses out there that's going to bring that spark, that interest, that personality. And
you got to get them.
They've been lacking that for many years.
Exactly. Exactly. And
all right, Mario, let's let them know.
That was good. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
That really is a good topic. I think they really did drop the ball on that. Just to keep it real, if they would have came out and sit there and said she's on the team, it wouldn't have been no issue. But by them sitting there saying she's off the team, and she really is packing she's really packing them gems. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And you got to commend her. You got to commend her on that. It's like the Bronny James effect. It's kind of like you have to do it. And I think they really did drop the ball. Hopefully, she can at least get on the team. Maybe I wouldn't say somebody gets hurt, but if situations change, hopefully she does get in. But they just messed up. You don't want to keep messing up like that.
Another great thing about this is watching, more specifically, Clark not let this get bigger than her. Like she's not made a big head about herself. I'm the reason this and I'm that, and like she's been real humble. She's trying to play the game. She's trying to be her. And so there's a lot of respect for her, because a lot, especially coming right out of college and being young, it would go straight to the head. And I am the GOAT. I am the face of the league. She tries to humble it off and focus on what needs to be taken care of when it comes to the Indiana fever and everything else. And that's definitely a good look, and it shows the young ladies coming up behind her how to act, not get ahead of yourself and full of yourself, but how to be humble, how to have respect for the league, how to have respect for the other players, which is a really good look for the WNBA. All right, Mario, go ahead and let them know where you're going to be at, where you can be found, social media, website, everything, so we can get things wrapped on up out of here.
All right. You can check us out on social media at Carolina Sports Plus on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. We got a lot of good things going on. We're going to be uploading some more merchandise on on the website. I would also like to say congratulations to you and what you got going on. It really is it really is nice to see you doing your thing, you know what I mean? So congratulations to you. But you can catch Carolina Sports Plus on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. We'll be in Candor July 18th through the 20th at the Peach Festival. There's really a lot of good things going on. There's going to be live bands. It's going to be food. It's going to be family entertainment. So definitely come out there and check us out. And see y'all next week. Oh,
Those
well,
in
not
the Dayton
next
area.
week, but the week after.
Yeah. Those in the Dayton area, Dayton, Ohio area, especially after this rain clears up this weekend. McMillan's Lawn Care and Landscaping got you covered. Call them 937-999-9793. Get your yard trimmed, cut, blowed, and taken care of. So make sure you reach out to them. Don't forget, tomorrow night, you got Jared with Safety to Success. Make sure you guys tune in at 8 o'clock. Like us on Facebook, the 110 Nation Sports. Follow us on Twitter, on Instagram, the 110 Nation Sports. Also, make sure that you guys check out our site, www.the110nationsportsradionetwork.com. Got the links to all the different platforms we are on, if it be iHeart, Spotify, iTunes, Amazon, YouTube, you name it. We are there. All you got to do is either Google us in the search bar. If you go to the website, just click on the tab. It'll take you straight there. Follow us so you know when all the shows are being dropped. Follow us on or subscribe to our YouTube channel. I want to thank and welcome the new followers over here on Blog Talk. Yes, for those that catch it on Blog Talk, you can actually follow us there as well. I know that we gained some followers on the Blog Talk Radio platform alone, not counting and mention all the other platforms when I was scheduling the show. I want to thank all and welcome all the new listeners, as that has been an increase as well. So I know that we got new listeners out there. So whatever show you happen to catch and listen to is a preference, I want to welcome you and thank you. Looking forward to being back, not next week, as I will be in the cabin in the woods, but the following week, I'm sure Mario and myself will have a lot to catch up here on the 110 Nation Sports Show. You guys have a great 4th of July. You guys have a safe holiday, and we will all catch y'all when we get back. Mario, you have a great 4th as well. Until next time.
Yes, sir. All right.